What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Dota 1 commentary brought to you by yours truly, B-Ball, and I hope you guys missed me. I missed you, but now it is summer, so plenty of time for casting, plenty of time for doing all my other stuff. Of course, I have a lot of other real-life things to do, but I hope you guys are all getting ready and excited for all of the upcoming Dota 1, Dota 2 action, mostly Dota 2, because the International is coming out very soon. Let's just unpause this replay really fast. And since I actually haven't had enough time recently to go over picks and bans like I usually do, or read up on the ban info, when I go back to Dota 1, what I usually do is check a lot of replays, check what the bans and picks usually are, and then comment on the trends. But I haven't had enough time. I've had to deal with finals and stuff like that. So for now, we're just going to speed through these picks and bans and get right into the meat of the action. And since the upcoming months are going to be fully devoted to Dota 2, Premier League 2, International 2 coming up very soon, Star Series 2 about to kick off, so a lot of Dota 2 action on the way. I figured, hey, let's give Dota 1 a couple more shots, and I plan on casting maybe 3 to 5 more Dota 1 games before GEST May, I think, so be on the lookout for that. Of course, the GEST brought to you by Gigabyte. The Gigabyte Esports Tournament brought to you by GhostOfGamers.net, going to be cast by Gods and all that other jazz as usual every month, and presenting most of Dota 1's best Southeast Asian teams. But that's the main Dota 1 tournament that's still going on. That's not in China, and considering China doesn't release its replays, we're going to go with more Southeast Asian Dota 1 action, which I'm sure not too many of you are too sad to see happen. Anyway, this is a replay from the Play Cyber Game tournament in the Philippines, and this is a very, very interesting matchup. I specifically looked through the replay files just to get to this replay. I do believe this is the first game that Julz has played against Mineski on his new team, Dreamz Legion. So, meanwhile, in Julz' place we have Nando. I think he's 15 years old. He's replacing Julz on Mineski roster, playing the hard carry role that Julz loved to play. So we're going to see a clash between Julz and Mineski, and I hope you guys are really excited. We're going to see a Xiao Demon and a Chen opening pick. Now, Chen is a really interesting hero. I just want to talk about him really fast. Chen is a hero who is ridiculous in Dota 2. He has probably the highest overall win percentage in Dota 2. Teams often first pick, first ban him. He's ridiculous, but recently in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene, he has been picked too much. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe he's been trending lately in the past 3 or so weeks while I've been away from the Dota 1 metagame. But Chen is a hero we don't see too much, but he's still unrivaled to what he does best. He is good at saving his allies, he's good at pushing towers, he's good at providing that global heal that cannot be stopped unless you have something like an AA or something like that. Meanwhile, Xiao Demon, still a very, very common first pick, first ban in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene. But you're going to look at the Naga and the Templar Assassin bans on Dreamz Legion side. And Naga and Tia are two of the heroes that I expect to see ported to Dota 2 very, very shortly, because they are probably two of the last few competitive Dota 1 heroes that have not been ported to Dota 2. So if Valve truly wants to import all of the competitive, viable Dota 1 heroes into Dota 2, they have to cater to they have to cater to all of the audiences, not just the Chinese, which is why we saw Bear and Lycan and other heroes like that ported very, very quickly. We're probably going to see CK coming up pretty soon, but I think Valve should import Naga and Templar Assassin as well. Meanwhile, we're going to see Rexar, Furion, Dragon Knight, Slaughter, Pugna bans, and we're going to see the standard Tiny ban against Mineski that Jay loves to play so much. Windrunner, Queen of Pain, Darkseer, Earthshaker. Darkseer has been receiving a lot of attention. Not only is he still ridiculously popular in Dota 2, he's been seeing a rise in play in Dota 1, and in some of the few Chinese Dota 1 games I have seen, Darkseer is commonly picked and banned. So Darkseer, even though with that Aghanim Scepter, which is a little bit curious because even in Dota 1, Darkseers never picked up Aghanims, but even with that Aghanim Scepter nerf, quote unquote, he's still very, very popular, very, very viable. He's just so good at disrupting team fights, saving his team. Vacuum is one of the best non-ultimate skills in the game, probably top 10 if I had to make a list. Tune in next time for B-Ball's top 5 list that completely blasts Nebula and Lumis out of the way. Just kidding, guys. Anyway, Darkseer, Earthshaker, Queen of Pain, Windrunner on Mineski's side, followed up by Lion. So Mineski is going with their famous mid-game lineup. They're not going for any sort of late game. They like to go for Slaughter a couple times, Dragon Knight, Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain, extremely popular pick in the Southeast Asian Dota scene. And Queen of Pain is a hero who either fares really well, is in most of the cases in the PNO metagame, or won't be too much of a big factor. Unless she gets off to a really good start, she won't have too big of an impact. Of course, she can gank, but if she get her off to a really good start in the early game, then you're going to be in trouble if you are the opposing side. So just right off the bat, we're going to see a lot of heavy ganking by Mineski. I expect to see Darkseer not AFK jungle all day, as is the case in a lot of Darkseer games, or he might just solo bottom, because the Filipinos still love to run the tri-lane strategy where they protect the carry. But I wonder who they protect in this case. Maybe they just go for a really offensive tri-lane, try to shut down the Morphling, or maybe the Night Stalker. But just looking at all these heroes, they're all extremely mobile. Shadow Demon Disruption can disrupt, of course, saving his heroes, preventing anybody from focusing that ally for about 2 seconds, and also creating havoc with those illusions. Puck, extremely mobile, probably the most mobile hero in the game. Morphling, a very mobile carry, extremely hard to kill. Night Stalker, of course, zooms around like he's on crack or amphetamines and all that jazz. Chen, not really that mobile, but he can send allies back. So heroes on both sides are going to have trouble catching up to each other. But this, of course, means that we're going to see a lot of ganks that we come to know and love in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene. All these mobile heroes means that they'll be rushing at each other, guns ablazing, gonna focus down each other as fast as possible and try to kill each other without any remorse and just try to win the game from there. But expect if the game doesn't go too long, Julz's Dreams Ledion lineup should take the advantage. Night Stalker, of course, is probably the hardest carry outside of Quap besides Morphling. So even if the Night Stalker gets farmed, Mineski will be in trouble. But if that Morphling gets any sort of momentum, then Mineski, they're going to be in for a difficult time. Lion, of course, is a pretty good counter to extremely mobile hard carries when he gets the blink in Hex. And Lion is a hero we haven't seen recently, but he's still very good at what he does. Blink in, initiate, go for a hard carry Hex, and then just burst down the opponent. So let's get right into the action. Whew! Oh man, it's been a while since I've talked this much, but hopefully I won't be too rusty. Hopefully I'm still articulate. I'm going to try to focus a bit more on making my camera motions smooth out as soon as possible. But let's just introduce the players on each team. We're going to see Julz playing the Morph. Who is it? Maxwell playing the Shadow Demon. Led on the Puck. Come back here. Buta on the Chen. And, sorry, last hero is going to be Ali on the Night Stalker. I'm not too familiar. If this is the same Dreams that was very big in the Malaysian scene a little while ago, or not a little while ago, probably in 2010, 2011, then you probably know them as well. But LedionDreamz I haven't heard of. Meanwhile, we're going to see OA playing the Windrunner. Going to see RR on the Lion. ASD, who is Nando on the Queen of Pain. Jay playing the Darkseer. So Jay is not going to be playing the Winner or the Queen of Pain, one of those extremely aggressive heroes. Woot's playing the Earthshaker. And just to go for a little bit of segue about Jay, Jay is one of those people who just plays really aggressively, plays really balls to the wall, escapes on skin and teeth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it works because Mineski usually are a very strong team. But recently they have been slumping, and that's been leading to speculation that's why Julz has quit, because he wanted something better, or maybe he got offered more money, stuff like that. I'm not too sure. I haven't followed all of the Southeast Asian Dota 1 drama, because there's so much drama in Dota 2 that doesn't even need to be mentioned. But Darkseer is a hero who innately builds extremely tanky, innately hard to kill with that surge, and he does a lot of damage, and he's extremely valuable contributor in team fights. So we're going to see a trailing top of the Lion, Earthshaker, and the Windrunner. Expect the Earthshaker to roam because Lion and Windrunner should be able to handle Puck just fine. Meanwhile, Night Stalker versus Queen of Pain. Looks like Nando's went a little bit aggressive, already down to half HP, and he's going to take a while to regen up with those tangos. And Night Stalker, I think one of the things they have to know about Night Stalker is he has 6 base armor. That is pretty ridiculous for a melee hero. So a lot of physical harassment will have to be done before you have to drive Night Stalker off the lane. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain 2 armor, very low HP, and no salves. So he's going to try to get that ball as soon as possible. But already you can see Nando being harassed quite heavily by Ali. Nicely done by Ali. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, this is the problem with the Mineski line. If they cannot pressure, if they did not put their aggressive try against the Morphling, Morphling should have absolute free farm. So expect Mineski to make up for it in the early part of the mid game. Just try to go aggressive, try to push towers, gain map control, and really try to concentrate on disrupting this Morphling. And yeah. Meanwhile, going to see some more harassment on the Night Stalker. Looks like Queen of Pain has leveled up Shadow Strike. Skilled level Blink level 2, and now Night Stalker is trading hits with the Queen of Pain. Can they get one more Shadow Strike? One more Shadow Strike should get the kill. Oh, Chen comes in for the nick of time, and since Shadow Strike doesn't do enough DOT, oh, looks like that tick managed to disrupt that salve. So Night Stalker is going to be in a lot of trouble. Already has to burn the salve. Let's see if Chen is going to be able to... Chen just gives him some tangles. Night Stalker is going to be harassing the lane. Fortunately for him, Queen of Pain did go for Blink level 2, and Puck is just saying, screw top lane, man. I am scared as heck of all that stuff. Let's just concentrate on winning the other lanes as hard as possible. They're going to do a bit more pressure on the bot lane, really try to win the lane for the Morphling. Puck, if he's played smart, actually against a Lion Windrunner, it would be pretty difficult for Puck not to die unless he's absolutely getting 0 experience whatsoever. Meanwhile, you can't leave Julz free farming uninterrupted. Probably going to go for that Ring of Aquila and then go for it probably as fast to carry on as possible. Go for the Lincoln Sphere. And against all the single target DPS items like the Hex, like the Shackle Shot, like the Impale, Lincoln Sphere will be absolutely invaluable. And it's so interesting how Morphling builds have changed in the long run. I mean, before we used to think, oh, Lincoln Sphere, way too passive. Morphling already has so many survivable skills. Soul Catcher is going to miss on the... No, it did hit the Dark Seer, but Dark Seer, of course, just surges out, going to be just fine. And no chain stun following up by the Chen. I don't think he was in position in time enough. And meanwhile, Queen of Pain is going to keep harassing that Night Stalker, but just go back to that Morphling. I think in early 6-9C, when he was the most popular carry in the Dota metagame, or 7-0, sorry, mixing up my Dota 1 metagame statistic. We saw Morphling often rush Manta Style when Manta Style was still really powerful, had shorter cooldown for range, still did max damage to range illusions as Queen of Pain is doing a nice job harassing Night Stalker. One Void should get the kill, and nope, Night Stalker is completely out of mana. I don't think he'd stick around. He does have 6 tangos, and it looks like he's going to try to tough it out, and that might be a huge mistake. He does get the first blood on the Puck Orb completely with Julz, or Nando, my bad, does die to the Queen, or to the Fairy Dragon with the last hit. That blink, not level 3, so it still had quite a long cooldown. Meanwhile, we're going to see Earthshaker come in for some experience. Going to see Puck try to get all the experience he can. But this Windrunner and Lion dual lane are going to receive a lot of farm. Lion doing a nice job just, you know, getting experience but not taking any farm. So expect to see a very, very fast mech force staff on the Windrunner and then go into the damage. And Windrunners on Southeast Asian teams, they love to go damage because they don't pick traditional hard carries. This Phasure comes in, Phase dodges most of the damage, and looks like Puck is going to be able to escape just fine. Queen of Pain's Blink should be on cooldown, but that's going to be the end of that engagement. Meanwhile, it is a lot. I'm not going to lie, guys. It is difficult just to use, like, arrow keys. I mean, come on. I don't really like using arrow keys when I can just sort of click. I will try to make my transitions to each part of the screen a little bit more smooth. Like, if heroes are near to each other, I'll use the arrow keys. But if I'm across the map, then I'm just going to try to use the click scroll. Looks like RR is going to do some creep pulls, trying to get some experience. Queen of Pain pops a double damage room. Earthshaker is in position. Can he get the fissure? He cancels it at the last second, and the Crow is doing a nice job scouting the high ground. And of course, Earthshaker, being a melee hero, cannot kill that Crow as much as he wants to. Gonna bottle up, but Queen of Pain is doing a nice job keeping this Night Stalker back. Even with his high base damage, you can't combat the ridiculous harassment power of Shadow Strike. Disruption gonna go in on that Queen of Pain Soul Catcher. Queen of Pain does manage to escape, drops the Sonic Wave, one more hit on the Night Stalker, one more hit! Does manage to get it, but he will pay for it with his life. Nice counter-ganking by the Chen, but Night Stalker being harassed so heavily will not get too many items when he goes on that rampage in the first night. And as is often said about Night Stalkers, first night is very, very important. I think the second night might be more important because that really dictates how he'll transition into the late game, where he is either useless or a very, very strong hero. But first Knight, if Night Stalker is not going to get too many items, he won't be able to go on the gank spree. All he has to battle does not even have boots. And meanwhile, Puck is going to be a lot of trouble. Gets hexed by the line when Pale. Can they get the power shot? Puck is still surviving for a long HP. The fissure, unfortunately, for the Scourge side managed to drop, and the power shot completely lifts one more hit, and they do manage to pick off the Puck. Earthshaker is going to take some reverse pounding by that tower, but he should be able to escape just fine. The Scourge side took a little bit more damage than they should have. Nice Crow Micro, gonna be able to escape just fine. And actually, just a fun little effect. Oh, no, there are 2 crows. I was like, what the heck? I don't see 2 crows. We actually saw, I think, Eclipsia, or sorry, former Eclipsia, aka former X-Quantic, aka ZD, aka former XK. You know, the team with Mania, Playmate, stuff like that, they run the 2 Bottle Crow strat as well with their Puck. But it did not really end up working out too well for them in that game. If I am not mistaken, actually I don't know, maybe they won that game. But double Bottle Crow, not exclusive. A very, very strong tactic. Most of the time though, teams feel like they have enough regeneration with just 1 Bottle Courier. It's so difficult to call it Bottle Crow when there's actually no Crow model in the game. Come on, Valve, we're gonna see all these badass courier designs like the Donkey, like the Imp, all that jazz, but we're not gonna see the Bottle Crow. Alright, I'm back. Let's get back into this game. Slow start, 2-3, no 800,000 kills as was so expected in Southeast Asian games. But keep in mind, this pace of the game really suits the Dreamz Ledion. I mean, Julz is farming pretty much uninterrupted, 41 CS by minute 7.5, which is not an actual minute number. But if he keeps up this pace, he'll be able to finish his Lincolns within about 10 more minutes, and then he'll be able to get a lot of damage and then just go on a rampage with ridiculous amount of farm. Meanwhile, Night Stalker did pop the first Knight. He's going to try to use it to get a lot of farm. He's 17-1, so he's not farming like the worst possible, but he's not getting a very strong farm either. Queen of Pain pretty much farming uninterrupted. She has died once, but she is 30-4. But keep in mind that she did die once, and it's not keeping up with Julz' farm at all. Queen of Pain is going to get voided. 1 more hit should be able to pick up the kill on the Queen of Pain. Blink was on cooldown, I suppose. Maybe he just wanted to bait for the Earthshaker, but Shadow Poison is going to catch on the Queen of Pain. 1 more void, and the Shadow Poison. Nicely done by Shadow Demon. Of course, the Night Stalker does have some pretty good nighttime vision, even without the Aghanim Scepter. I do believe he has the maximum amount of nighttime vision you can get, along with Luna and stuff like that. But the Shadow Demon Poison was, of course, used to scout, not only as well as to hit and do some extra damage. Meanwhile, Darkseer is going to be harassed a little bit. So, with Queen of Pain dying twice and Morphling just getting his way absolutely, I really think the pace of this game is favoring Dreamz Ledion. So, unless Mineski pulls something out of the bag, then Julz will be able to get his revenge on his former teammates close enough. I'm sure they are all still really good friends and stuff like that. There's probably no bad blood between any of them. I guess Julz probably just wanted to, you know, do what's best for Julz. Meanwhile, this Night Stalker is going to farm a bit more in the bot lane as we're going to see massive teleports into the bottom lane. Going to see Queen of Pain along with Darkseer. Let's see if they can pick up a kill on the Morphling. Looks like Morphling has plenty of mana regen, and I think they did notice the Queen of Pain scouting out the other side, and if they're not careful, this net could trap one of the heroes in, and Darkseer could be bursted down. He does have the Ring of Help, but no cloak, nothing like that. Going to get disrupted. Expect the net chainstone to fall. Soul Catcher does hit the Darkseer. There goes the net. Nicely timed with the surge, but looks like Darkseer is going to be able to escape as the waveform whiffed. If the waveform actually hit, Darkseer might have been able to go down with that Soul Catcher on him. But unfortunately, Darkseer lived, and that's the end of that. Meanwhile, Windrunner, Morphling's counterpower on the top lane, has 46 CS, but then again, Windrunner is a hero who really doesn't scale nearly as well as the Morphling because Morphling is a ridiculous late game carry, as we're going to see a massive amount of dies on the lane, on the bottom lane, as Jade does die. Another net, I think, was used to kill him, along with Soul Catcher and Disruption. And keep in mind that they do have the creeps, they have the Skeleton Warriors, which are pretty good at taking towers. Every tower shot you can tank is another tower shot that can't be used to hit your melee creeps and your range creeps as well. So this tower should be going down in very, very short order. Earthshaker going to drop a Fissure. Looks like the Replicate is going to be used to dodge. ASD, Nando managed to pick off the Chen and all of that riffraff. And they're going to go on the hunt for the Shadow Demon, going to get 1 more kill. the Screaming Pain enough to scout out the Shadow Demon. Earthshaker is going to try to get the Fissure, but cancels it as well. Winner is going to be interrupted in his farm train up top, as Jay is going to harass the Puck down a little bit. Puck is level 6, he's going to be able to finish his... He's going to pick up a bottle, so going to do some more bottle throwing, and he's going to try to push the lane, kind of get some experience, as Puck, without too much farm, he's still a decent hero, but Puck with farm is pretty devastating. Once he gets that Blink Dagger, he's pretty much close to unkillable. Of course, the problem with that is there are extremely mobile heroes on the Scourge side as well. You have the Surge, you have the Wind Run, you have the Blink from the Queen of Pain. Earthshaker will eventually be able to pick up a Blink. And one thing about Southeast Asian Shakers is that they are not afraid to pick up fast Blink Daggers, because they earn so many kills. The Southeast Asian playstyle dictates that they're going to be in a lot of kills. Dream Coil is going to be dropped on the top lane for the Darkseer. Vacuum is going to be casted. Oh, nice timing by Jay. Going to be able to time that perfectly to rush out of the Dream Coil without being stunned. So wasting a lot of Night Stalker's time. Night Stalker is going to have to run back to base, and by that time, I think the first night might be over without Night Stalker accomplishing too much. He managed to pick up a kill on the Queen of Pain, and looks like Oa is going to try to get in position to catch a power shot, a shackle shot on Julz. One more hit. Earthshaker Echo Slam is going to be dodged, but the Hex is going to be casted. Hand of God going to come in. Replicate being casted at the last instant. Nicely done by Julz, but he is completely trapped, and he does not have too much more mana, and I think Julz will be able to will actually die for his insolence, as the Orb is going to come in, try to pick off the Windrunner, but Puck might be in a little bit of trouble. Another Hex by the Lion. Lion is just proving all his worth here. Unfortunately, the Impale was missed completely, and now the Scourge heroes have to retreat. They are low HP, low mana heroes, no mana whatsoever on the Lion, but since they are all extremely speedy heroes, they have the Fissure, they have the Shackle Shot, and they have Windrunner to escape. They are going to do just that, as ASD 50 CS going to pop the regen rune to go after Night Stalker. Meanwhile, Oa takes a dive on the bot lane. Sorry I missed that, but we're going to watch Night Stalker die to Nando on the middle lane. Blech, too many kills, as is the case with most Southeast Asian Dota games. Sorry I'm missing a couple more kills than I should have, to be quite honest, but I'm a little bit out of practice. Meanwhile, Jay's going to be harassed by Julz quite heavily, but Julz can just tank this and just completely out-damage the Morphling. I think he's just trying to bait out the waveform one more time, but Julz had to be a little bit careful right there. Meanwhile, the middle tower did fall in exchange for the bottom tier 1 tower. Smoke to See is popped, but it looks like no, that was the Dreamz ward, so they're completely unscattered. They're going to try to pick up a kill on the Lion at the very least. Queen of Pain might be able to escape this just fine with the blink out, so let's see how they do. Queen of Pain doesn't have too much mana, of course, if she does some fancy tread switching. Then she'll be just fine. The Arcane Boots are popped. They're going to Hex the Shadow Demon. Dream Coil is going to be dropped. They're going to try to pick off the Lion at the very least. What are they doing? They are just going to bide time. Shadow Demon was just running back and forth for a little bit. A little bit of a mishap right there, as Puck is going to be harassed quite heavily. A couple more hits. Chen is going to try to send the Puck home, as, oh, he phased out of the send home. I did not know you could do that. A little bit of a misplay by the Puck. I think he would have been sent home just fine, but they might be able to pick up the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain blinks out in just the nick of the time. This is the kind of action you expect to see from any Southeast Asian Dota game, as there is just too much crazy, so you never know what to expect next. I did not know you could phase out of the Holy Persuasion, but it does make sense because Puck phases pretty much out of existence. Meanwhile, Julz, after that first death, he does have 80 CS in the bank, and we're going to probably see a giant team fight, so expect to see a lot of spells flying back and forth, as the two gankers are going to come in for a gank on the middle lane. Let's see if Earthshaker can cast. No, he does manage to drop the Echo Slam. Nicely done by Oa. Pays for it with his life, but Nando is going to come in for the cleanup. One more hit on the Night Stalker. They do manage to pick it up. So nice job, but completely unexpected, as Chen takes the fall. Once more, Julz denied the tower in the midst of that, but that's a trade that Mineski will take any day of the week. Very nicely done. I thought that was the end for Oa, to be sure, but he did just manage to barely drop off his Echo Slam. He shouldn't have been able to be quite honest. Yet between Winning Rift and between the base 3-second silence of the Crippling Fear that you get in daytime, then Earthshaker should not be able to drop the Echo Slam in before he dies. So a little bit of a misplay by Dreamz Ledion, but nice. You can't take anything away from Mineski. They managed to exploit that very, very nicely. Managed to pick up 4 kills and all the midst of that. But keep in mind, Julz is farming uninterrupted on the top lane. He has 2.8k gold in the bank, 500 more gold, and he will be able to pick up the Lincoln Sphere. With that, he'll be extremely hard to kill unless Lion picks a Blink Dagger, which he is nowhere near close to doing. Meanwhile, Jay picked up a Hood of Defiance. Queen of Pain is saving up his gold, just bought an item, maybe going for the Aghanims. We're going to see very, very shortly. No! Had an ultimate orb in the stash all the while, so he's going to go for extremely fast hacks. I really like this choice. If Lion's not going to be able to pick up fast Blink Dagger, then I'm going to try to initiate with the Queen of Pain and then have the Lion come in from support. So rather than initiating with the Lion and then have the other support, then rushing in with that very fast Blink Dagger, going to really, really put an onus on the Morphling's Lincoln Sphere, and that's how they're going to try to bring him down in the midst of these engagements. And Mineski, they want to get Julz and the rest of Mineski. I guess they're going to leave Julz to farm interrupted because they do have a plan. They have so many disables, so Lincoln Sphere just can't be the only one, as Vacuum's going to suck in a couple heroes, at the very least going to send home Puck immediately. Will he get... He does manage to get sent home, but Nightstalker's going to definitely take the fall. No, can he turn on the darkness and escape? Oh, Nightstalker gets Scream of Pain, one more hit, and looks like the Surge is doing a nice job propelling the Queen of Pain forward. Going to be able to drop Shadow Strike on the Chen. Very, very close, out of mana, but hopefully that soul will be enough to send the Chen home. Let's see if Julz comes in for some reinforcement. Magic Wand is popped, but very, very low mana on the Queen of Pain. Can Julz do some damage? No, Julz is not even going to try to save his ally. Looks like Butao will take the fall as well, so Nando, after dying twice on that middle lane, is finally making his impact, and this is the power of a Southeast Asian Queen of Pain. They are just, I mean, a month or two ago when I was doing a lot of heavy research into Southeast Asian Dota, checking out the picks and bans and all that, as we see a Shackle Shot completely owning the puck. One more hit, he did a nice phase shift as Winner is not going to be able to pick up the kill. And after that early farm, its farm has slowed down a little bit and has not picked up the mechanism, but should be able to get that before 20 minutes. Let's just check out the gold really fast. 500 gold in banks, or 500 more gold, and then you'll have that Lincoln Sphere. But, again, just to sort of go back to that point I was making earlier about the Southeast Asian Queen of Pain, as looks like there's just so much action. I'm really glad I'm not using my keyboards, because there's just way too much happening on the screen. I have to sort of click on mini-map spots in order to transition over. Can a brother make his point? Come on, Dreams and Mineski. Anyway, in GEST 4.1 and 4.2, Queen of Pains often went like 20-2. Or 15-1. Like really, really ridiculous scores. Scores you do not expect to see in a professional Dota match by a Queen of Pain. But in this very hectic team fight lineup where mobility is all that matters, along with a massive amount of burst damage, Queen of Pain really reigns unsupreme. She's extremely versatile, extremely mobile, and she has a lot of burst damage. What else do you need? It's just like the perfect package. So Queen of Pain, once again, showing her mark, really taking control of the game. 62 CS, not the best, but 9 kills will be more than enough to make that up. And has only about 1,400 gold in the bank to go before making that Hex. And with that Hex, they should be able to pick off Julz with relative impunity. I'm just going to check on that Lion Blink Dagger fund. Very, very far away from that Blink Dagger. And I think if Lion picks a Blink Dagger, then Julz really, really has to be extremely careful. Might even have to consider going BKB for these team fights, because he will just be completely chain stun out of his mind. Meanwhile, it is second night, but unfortunately the first night did not pay off dividends, so I might have to take back what I say about the second night being the most important. Second night is most important if you get out to a good early start for the first night, so I think overall the first night is more important. Ah, man. We're going to see a gank try to go on Julz, going to disable the Shadow Strike. Lion was there for the impale. Shackle Shot managed to catch it on a couple of heroes. Chain Stunning is there. A little bit of missed Chain Stuns. The Shackle Shot and the Hex were cast at the same time. But then to finish it off, that's all that matters. They Chain Stun perfectly. Got the impale. Scream Pain going to be cast on the Shadow. Even Self-Disruption was not able to be cast in time. Mineski just cleaning floor with Julz's Dreams Legion team. And this is the power of playing with 4 people that have all played together for so long, and I think Julz is the captain of Dreams Legion. He is blue, so he is going to be, he did have the pick, so maybe Dreams Legion, they're not accustomed to playing with this new captain. I don't know. I don't want to make any excuses. Keep in mind that this is still very early, and Nando, though I think he played with XCTN, aka MSI Evo GT, for quite a while. He plays a carry role, which is probably I mean, Queen Pain is not really this prototypical carry, to be honest. But I think with four other players as experienced as Jewel or as Jay and Oa and RR and all that jazz, they're going to be good enough to help him through the transition. As Echo Slam is going to be dropped, self-destruction is going to be cast on Morphling. Morphling should be able to escape just fine. But unfortunately, Butao, the Chen, melts in the midst of all that. Windrunner going to cast Windrunner, one more hit. Oh, he does die. Led La picks up the kill as well. So, be able to exchange 1-for-1 right there. And keep in mind that the Sentinel side has very, very low cooldown on their death towers because they're pretty underleveled. So Mineski, they might be playing a little bit too close to the bone, diving so deep into enemy territory when the enemies have very, very, very fast respawn times. When we're hit on the Darkseer, should be able to pick up the kill. Let's go, Night Stalker! Earn! Oh, he had so many chances to cast the Earn. A little bit of a misplay again on the Night Stalker side, but looks like Nando managed to pick up one more kill in the midst of all of that chaos. Earthshaker gonna take so much damage, he's probably gonna go down. Woots is gonna pay for his life, but he's doing a nice job casting off Echo Slams. Unfortunately, he did spend 135 gold on the teleport scroll. Night Stalker, he's gonna be able to just be sent home completely as Queen of Pain is gonna blink out. She should be able to escape just fine. To be honest, Jay should not have lived, but the Replicate is just going to go in with a vengeance, going to try to pick off a kill on the Lion. Still a very, very healthy mana pool for the Morphling waveform, and one more hit is going to be able to pick up that off. And the regen rune was popped by Queen of Pain, but she's in a lot of trouble. They're just going to forget about her completely, but she has picked up Hex and all of that. But anyway, Jay should not have lived. Earn at any point during that engagement, I think, might have been able to do, especially when he's at 70 HP. He does have the Hood Defiance and he has a lot of regen with his Vanguard and Hood, but Earn would have done enough damage to get the kill in my opinion. I mean, the last time we saw him, he was at 130 HP and the chase was going on for a good 5 seconds, where he was able to regenerate probably 30 to 40 HP during that time. So, gonna take a little bit of a breather right here. 27 kills in a Southeast Asian Dota 2 game. I have casted a Dota 1 game. I have seen so many more. So this is not the most frenetic Southeast Asian Dota 1 game I've ever seen by a long shot. But still, it has heated up very, very quickly. Keep in mind there are only 5 kills in the first 8 minutes or so. So in the past 15 minutes, things have just been heating up very, very quickly. Julz has died once more, but he is up to 128 CS. Let's see what he decides to go for. He has 800 gold in the bank. The safest option, and the option I most like in this case, would be the Manta style. Of course, Southeast Asian Dota, I don't know what to expect from items. Standard items are not to be underestimated in any sort of matter, as we're going to see Night Stalker going to be sent home if they can get the Sonic Wave. Oh, Finger Death going to be able to pick off that last hit. Unfortunate for Aoi, and unfortunate for the Chen. Going to try to make that Woe Dota puppy, Navi puppy saves at the last second, but the Finger Death. When Lion figures you, he's going to get it done. He's like that. You know what? Anywhere I try to take this analogy, it'll just not end well whatsoever. So I'm just going to not bother. I mean, there's nothing I can do to salvage that analogy. So, nope, not going to hear the end of that. Let's see. Overall, just check out the positioning. Wards are being dropped all over the place. A lot of sentry wards being dropped as well, as 4 heroes are going to be pushing that top tower. Nando is going to be able to get the Hex off on Led La. Led La should die. One more hit. Oh! The attack animation was cancelled by ASD, but the Shadow Strike damage over time was enough to pick up the kill. And without Puck, without the AoE stun, without the orb to help clear out the creep waves, I think Mineski should be able to pick off this tower. And Puck was decent level, so he will have quite a bit of time to go before he respawns. 20 more seconds, so they should be able to pick off this tower, especially with Darkseer charging in. Extremely tanky with that Hood Defiance and that Vanguard. You know, in this case, Pipe, it's an okay item, but I think just going for some more utility items, go for a Hex, stuff like that. Going to be able to pick up a Mystic Staff, so he's going to go for that Hex or a Shiva's Guard. Shiva's Guard, of course, will make him very, very tanky, and considering the amount of physical DPS, Chen creeps, stuff like that, as Morphling died completely. I barely managed to catch that, and Lion did not have a Blink Dagger, so just unfortunate positioning by Julz, as the tower is going to be denied by RR, so Julz is being shut down quite heavily. He picks up that Blade of Alacrity, but after that, that's all that's really come of it. As meanwhile, Jay and Winner are going to try to go in for a couple kills. Shouting is going to be sent back home, and with that, the gank should be over. Without Julz, I don't think they have enough DPS to bring down Darkseer, let alone Darkseer with the backup of the mechanism. And considering the amount of surge and Windrunner and all of the mobility that Mineski has, they should be just fine, which they are. So after that save, let's just check out the overall item progression. Night Stalker's getting quite tanked, but he is 2 and 6, so he's not going to be able to pick up too many DPS items. Meanwhile, Chen does not even have his mechanism. Shaladin playing the support role as best he can. He's going to pick up a lot of sentry wards to try to counteract as much map control that Mineski has. Maybe a gem would be a little bit more efficient because, I mean, 4 pairs of sentry wards is 800 gold. Meanwhile, a gem is 700. But then again, you never want to give up the opportunity to lose it. So sentry wards probably not the worst idea in this case. And just looking at overall the items on the Sentinel side, they are completely underfarmed compared to the Scourge. Earthshaker just picked up the Blink Dagger, and meanwhile the Lion is about 700 gold away from his, and with the Lion Blink Dagger combined with the Earthshaker Blink Dagger, there is just... I mean, Mineski would be next to unkillable, pretty much. They just have so many ways to escape, and I really like the mobility options that Mineski has picked up. It looks like Jay might be in a little trouble. Dream Cold along with Fear, but look how much damage he's taking even with the Soul Catcher. My god, but Jay finally falls barely as they wasted a lot of time. Unfortunately, not a lot of physical TPS on Mineski's side, so it's going to take a while before they can get the Roshan. Let's see if Dreamz Ledion can go in for the Roshan Jack. The Shadow Poison is going to be there to scout it out, but I think Roshan will take the fall, and Nando should pick up the Aegis. Yes, Nando does pick up the Aegis. He's going to force staff out, try to initiate on the Night Stalker or the Puck with that Hex. No, they're just going to try to go for a mid push. They're going to wait for Jay to respawn, going to defend their towers. Keep in mind, every moment that you're not pushing, Morphling is going to get stronger, but I think in this case, Mineski should be okay. They have so many ways to initiate, and I have no idea why Puck was even there. Puck, why were you even there? A little bit of a misplay right there, to be honest. I mean, you might think I'm being a little bit too hard on these players for positioning, considering that is their playstyle, but when heroes are picked off solo, when teams are so often going for 5v5 roam fights, as looks like Queen of Pain is trying to out DPS, the Morphling is doing a nice job. Hand of God is going to be popped as well, as a couple ultimates going to be popped, the Screaming Pain along with the Hand of God, as Julz is going to escape, going to replicate, going to teleport back home. Hand of God will be on cooldown for another minute and a half, so Mineski can go for an all-out team fight. Anyway, just to go back to my point, you might think I'm being a bit too harsh, but when I see a player just completely caught out without any wards, without any vision, I mean, you are a Puck, you're extremely survivable, but you gotta know a little bit better than that, especially against all of these single target disables. You really cannot leave the team, and Mineski are doing a nice job completely capitalizing on this advantage. I mean, we saw this in the last Dota 1 game I cast, which was Mineski versus Stars Boba, where Mineski just... They don't play perfectly, but they do a heck of a job punishing your mistakes. Very, very strong. They're just going to take that mistake you make and run with it. So, Dreamz Ledion, I think Julz is finally coming to the realization that, oh, you know, all that time I was in Mineski, I finally know what it feels like to be completely counter-ganked with 5 heroes if I'm out of position. But Dreamz Ledion are not out of the woods, or are not done just yet. Yasha has picked up a Morphling. He just managed to pick it up just recently. So he's still about 1600 gold away from that Manta style. When he picks up the Manta style, it'll be extremely hard to kill. He has those illusions to help give him a little bit more chaos in these team fights. The Darkseer goes for the Shiver's Guard. I like this choice rather than another Hex. I mean, you have so many single target disables, and meanwhile, Darkseer, you want to be in the front lines, tanking, initiating, stuff like that, going for that perfect vacuum to go in for that Screaming Pain, as Night Stalker cut out of position once more, as, I mean, this time he's pretty close to his base, so that's our mistake. That's a mistake you'll see a lot of other people make as well. So, meanwhile, they're going to take that kill and just try to roll with it. They have that Blink Dagger up on the line, so Julz has to be careful. Meanwhile, the Trolls and the Centaurs eyeing the Mineski on him menacingly, knowing that, hey, we're badass, we're a Troll and a Centaur. We can beat up your puny archer cow. Demon Witch things, but they cannot, unfortunately. Such is the way of the Chen in the late game. But Shiva's Guard on Darkseer gonna also help slow down Night Stalker and Morphling's attack speed in the mid to late game. So overall, I really like this choice by Darkseer. We're going to see Mineski go for the high ground attempt. That Tornado doing a heck of a job annoying everybody. Going to Vacuum just to cancel that mini stun. Vacuum has 16-second cooldown, so they'll be able to wait. I mean, Julz will be able to farm away for another 10 or so seconds before Darkseer will be able to pick up the Vacuum. Meanwhile, Nando is being chipped to death. Just a little bit of fighting game terminology right there. Just constantly wearing down the opponent with a number of attacks. And he's slowly taking and beating. And let's see if they decide to give up the Aegis. Nando is still tanking a lot of damage, picks up the Aghanim, so he does have a very short cooldown on that Screaming Pain ultimate. But keep in mind, he has pretty low mana as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him just suicide. But no, that would be a pretty of a foolish thing to do. Why waste your Aegis? Just back off. You have a lot of map control. But when Morphling picks up Manta Style, I mean, Lewis make this comparison very quickly. He's like a sort of a prophet that is not a prophet. He just splits up with those waveform Manta Illusions, going to damage your tower very dangerously, and it'll be pretty difficult for you to push out. So Morphling, one of the most annoying carries in the game to face, and he is about 400 gold away from that Manta Style if it is not coming to him on the... Nope, just the TP scroll. Always carry that TP scroll, boys and girls, as Lewis always says, but I always see him not carry TP scrolls, so practice what you preach, man. You know, Mineski, let's just check out the items really fast. Windrunner, 300 gold in the bank, has not picked up any items very soon, so if I click on her inventory, she probably has a couple items in the bank, maybe getting close to that Hex. Earthshaker, 1600 gold in the bank, maybe pick up a point booster, build for an eventual Aghanims, but hopefully Mineski can end the game before then, otherwise they're going to be in a lot of trouble against this Morphling. Just checking out the courier from Windrunner item. Necrobook level 1 on the Windrunner. Now, Necrobook in this case, when you want to win in the early mid-game, I mean, so often I see Necrobooks being picked up for very late cases. Echo Slam going to be dropped in for the Night Stalker. He's quite tanky. Self-Disruption should be cast. One more hit. Now the Fissure doing a nice job blocking. And Windrunner picks up the kill. Nicely done by Oa. Shackle Shot disabling the Lincoln Sphere, but he does finish the Manta Style as well. Meanwhile, Necrobook in the late game, I'm not really too big of a fan of, especially Necro one this late in the game. But I mean, in this case, when we're going for such a very mid-game based lineup, Necrobook is not a bad choice. What really irks me is when it's 35 minutes game, you pick up Necrobook level 1, and I mean, it just gets bursted down instantly, and your team is not really like a mid-game based team. I mean, there's so many different items you can pick up in that scenario. But Necrobook in this case, for Mineski, I like this choice. We're going to see a Blanket by Shaker. Echo Slam is on cooldown. Going to try to pick off Puck once more. Puck, not being the survivable dragon that he always is, going to be able to force staff just out in the nick of time. More blinks, more mana expend. Earthshaker completely out of mana. One more hit. They do kill the Aegis on the Queen of Pain pretty much for free, but he will respond with full mana, full HP. Meanwhile, Earthshaker gets the Arcane Boots pop, so he will have enough mana to blink in and drop one more Fissure. Echo Slam is on cooldown, but they're just going to try to chip away at this tower. But now you see the problem of pushing against a Shadow Demon and a Puck. Just wear out the crew players very slowly and surely. And Morphling can push other ways at the same time. Pop a Replicate in the base and just teleport back to your allies. And that's all that. And slowly Mineski's lack of physical damage is going to come back to hurt them, because these towers, they take quite a while for them to go down. So Dreamz leading, they're still losing by a decent amount of margin. I expect if there was a gold graph in Dota 1, I think they'd be down by at least 15k. They're going to try to get silence, but Disruption not chained very nicely with the silence whatsoever. Going to cast the Soul Catcher on him once more, the Dream Call. Not enough to catch him. Ghost Scepter being picked up, and as is the Southeast Asian Queen of Pain way, he's going to go for the Ethereal Blade, just going to give him even more burst amplification. And keep in mind, against physical DPSers like the Night Stalker and the Morphling, that Ether Blast will be a good job in terms of slowing him down, and also another way to cancel that Lincoln Sphere. So all these ways are just going to do a good job in terms of canceling that Lincoln Sphere. Necrobook level 3 finished on that Windrunner, so she managed to upgrade that level by 2 in the past 4 or 5 minutes. Meanwhile, the siege continues ever so slowly, ever so vigilantly, and as is the way, Southeast Asian players do, or Filipino players do not save for buyback. In this case, I don't really know what a buyback Morphling would do if his whole team dies. I mean, Mineski has so many disables that they'll just chain stun him to death and kill him once more. So I don't know if buyback is even the way to go for this Morphling. Just a comment I want to note on in general. But now you see in these sort of engagement, in these Filipino versus Filipino games, you kind of get the gist of why they go for these items, why they go for Ethereal Blade, why they go for no buyback build, why they go for late game Necro 3s. In other sort of like Southeast Asian versus Chinese games, or Southeast Asian versus Orange or Malaysian games, where or not Southeast Asian, Filipino versus Malaysian, Filipino versus Orange, you kind of go, huh, when you look at their items. But in these Filipino versus Filipino teams, you definitely get the picture of why they go for these items, as at least I do, for the most part, as Silence is going to be casted on the winner. He's able to force staff him off just in time. Meanwhile, Nando is constantly pushing back the wave. I think I need a little bit of a break. It's been a while since I've casted, to be quite honest. I mean, that pub adventure, it was probably recorded 2 weeks ago, and that Moose vs. Navi also recorded a week and a half ago. So in terms of actually speaking to you guys over a microphone, it's been a minute, to say the least. Meanwhile, Jay is just taking the tower damage. He has that Shiva's Guard, so he's able to take a lot of HP. And keep in mind that Echo Slime should be up by now. This Endless Siege slowly but surely wearing. And in terms of map control, Queen Pain going to be able to farm all the ways. And I mean, although they're not farming in the jungle, keep in mind the tower is slowly but surely taking creeps away from the Dreamz Ledion lineup. So even though, I mean, they're not always farming the jungle. I mean, they are farming the jungle right there, but they're not farming the jungle over here. They're losing creeps to the tower, so even with this small situation, they are losing farm as Lion blinks in, as Night Stalker Jay gets initiated on, but Jay tanked that all up like a beast. So let's see if he drops the wall. RR is the first one to fall. Lion takes the fall without dropping a Finger of Death or a Hex. Let's see if he has buyback. No, he does not. So Mineski, they might have to retreat for now, as Dreamz Ledion doing a nice job catching Mineski out of position as the Sonic Wave Ether Blast Hex combination completely one-shot that puck. Going for that shotgun Queen of Pain build, completely melting the other teams, as Butao, the Chen player, is going to be the next one to fall. Earthshaker is going to try to get one more hit on Maxwell. Jay, let's go. Morphling picks up one more kill as Maxwell is trying to run his ass away. But you cannot escape from the Darkseer. He will come and get you. He will find you, and he will hunt you down. But Julz is always alive. Let's see. He does have enough gold for buyback. And considering they managed to pick up 2 kills, Earthshaker bought back and teleported in immediately. So Shaka Shot's going to catch the Morphling. Wall of Illusion going to be casted as well. Shiva's Guard doing a lot of damage. Actually, not too much damage at all to the Morphling. My bad for some false hype. But Morphling has to be careful not to walk through the wall too many more times. He takes constant damage, and he creates more Morphling illusion. Shotgun Queen of Pain melted the Morphling. Morphling buys back. And now, with all the Dreamz Ledion allies respawning, they should be able to defend the racks at the very least. Considering that Darkseer is at half HP, gonna cast Vacuum once more, gonna convert the ranged Necro Book by Chen, but that's just going to take some creep damage. The tower finally falls. Let's see if Queen of Pain and Wonder can mow down this tower fast enough. Puckalugi Orb, can he go in for the blink initiation? Keep in mind, Morphling has to be pretty careful. He has a Ghost Scepter. Considering the amount of magical damage, going the shotgun build might not be the best option for Morphling. The Queen of Pain and the Wonder are doing a nice job of taking down the racks and just getting the fuck out of there. So overall, a very long, prolonged siege by Mineski, but finally it bears fruit. They are able to pick off the mid-racks and mid-tower. Morphling going for the shotgun build. Not really too sure about this build whatsoever, as Darkseer runs in vacuums, taking so much damage with that Shiva's Guard, as the Scream of Pain does manage to hit the Shadow Demon, doing a lot of damage. Morphling, one more hit, he has no buyback, so if he dies, no, he's going to get sent home, doing a nice job of activating Morph before he got hexed, and it morphed him enough to keep him alive in all the long run. But Mineski just picking off small victories here and there, going to be able to defend this tower and going to be able to seize map control to try to get the Aegis up on Nando once more. Meanwhile, Puck picked up a hand of Midas. I did not see this. This was just for the Necrobook? Hand of Midas countering Necrobook. Because he did not have this in the early game. I kept in my eye on Puck, and he did not have this in the early game whatsoever. So I guess this is just to counter the Necrobook. And keep in mind, Necrobook has a 90-second cooldown. Meanwhile, Hand of Midas has a 100-second, so he can instantly turn one of those Necrobook creeps into 100 gold. But keep in mind, that's not really worth it. I mean, Necrobook minions by themselves give you 100 gold, and Midas gives you a constant 190. So in terms of overall gold efficiency, that won't work. Of course, you have to keep in mind that Necrobooks do a crap ton of damage if you leave them alive. Combined with all the other things they do, they have True Sight, they have Mana Burn, so getting them killed as soon as possible is a nice way to go as well. But just being an economist, it's not very efficient, guys. It doesn't outweigh the loss that you spend getting late game mana miners. Nando picks up the Aegis once more. Ethereal Blade, just checking out, he should be filthy rich. 2.8k gold in the bank. Meanwhile, just checking out Julz. He's pretty far away from that Ethereal Blade. He picked up that Ghost Scepter. Even if he picks up Ethereal Blade, what can he do? He's not going to be able to... He's just going to get completely bursted down by Queen of Pain, by Lion, stuff like that. So I guess the Ghost Scepter was just like, okay, I bought back and I still have 1600 gold. What should I get? Alright, let's just pick up a Ghost Scepter because it's right here. I mean, that's the only reason why I see him getting it for. Meanwhile, Night Stalker, tanky. Can he do anything? Not too much. Puck, Julz is pretty much Dreamz Ledion's only hope. Meanwhile, just checking out the gold on Mineski's side of the lab. Bloodstone Fish on the Darkseer. Like, keep in mind, Darkseer's spells are all pretty mana intensive. Surge, 50 mana per pop. Wall of Replica is 400 damage, 400 mana at level 16. Vacuum is, I think, 170 to 200 mana at level 4. So they cost quite a bit of mana, so I'm not adverse to that Bloodstone. And keep in mind, gives him more tank. And considering he's going to be on the front lines always, as Echo Slam, I think, was popped for that Morphling illusion. It was, so Echo Slam will be on cooldown for the next 2 minutes or so, as Morphling managed to escape just barely, apparently. Man. But, yeah, considering Darkseer is on the front lines of every engagement, he should... theoretically, if all goes according to plan, be the first one to die after his teams get worn down a bit, so that 400 damage heal, or 400 burst heal, will be enough to heal all his allies. So, not the worst choice. Of course, there are other options, but Bloodstone Darkseer, it's pretty good. He'll always have full mana, and he can always cast a Vacuum and always surge away his allies. So, pretty good option in this case. I mean, just look at his mana regen. Ridiculous after casting Ion Shell and Vacuum and Shivos. He's still already back, and looks like Lion's going to come in to join the party. One more hit on Julz. Going to cast a Fissure. Julz is going to take the fall. He does have money for buyback, but buyback cooldown should be in operation just about now. And without Julz, I do not see any way for Dreamz Ledion to defend this. So Mineski going to try to go for that GG push. No Echo Slam, but keep in mind the wall is up. Finger of Death is on cooldown, but it'll be up in about 30 seconds. Meanwhile, Windrunner Necro 3 should be up. Nicely placed wall, or not really nicely placed, but just sort of a preventative wall saying, do not pass, you shall not pass, says Gandalf the Darkseer, even though Gandalf is Keeper of the Light's alternative name. Morphling buyback just came off, I think, otherwise he wouldn't have waited so long. And Darkseer is going to get silenced, going to surge away. Morphling is going to come in, try to pick off a kill on the Windrunner, as Windrunner managed to pick off a tower in all the midst of that. Let's see, Nando is blinking in the midst of everything, possibly BKB, going to try to do as much damage as he can, but unfortunately he's not doing too much whatsoever. He's going to try to pick off the Puck. Puck escapes by the brink of, escapes the brink of death, and he's going to be able to escape, or come back in this fight just in time. Earthshaker managed to catch 3 people on the Aftershock chain stun. Nicely done, as E-Blade, Queen of Pain just doing so much work. Woots died, but they traded Woots for a Chen, and every hero that cannot defend for Dreamz Ledien is another hero that they're going to miss desperately as they try to hold on to this Rex, but the range Rex is going to fall, and unfortunately Julz has had to buy back twice, so I do not see him able to pick off enough items to help carry this, and Mice use it to kill a couple of creeps and the Necrobook illusions, but Jay is tanking so much damage. He has so much HP regen per second with the Bloodstone and the Hood and the Vanguard. He's constantly at full HP, just running in, doing constant amount of damage, and a full duration Ion Shell does something like 700 damage. Of course, that'll never happen because, you know, people run away. But Queen of Pain, she did lose Aegis, but she's going to blink out just fine. And I think finally Mineski are forced to retreat from this endless onslaught, but they did not lose any heroes in that except for the Earthshaker, I do believe. So Darkseer is going to try to escape one more hit. No. I think even if he hadn't tried to teleport, the Dream Call was enough to drop on him and get it. But I think if he, you know what, just scratch that. He would have died anyway. But it would have taken quite a bit of time, as looks like Queen of Pain going to try to Ether Blast Morphling to death. Julz picks up like a Beyond Godlike, going to fund his buyback for a bit. Keep in mind, Nando does not have enough gold for buyback, but 2 racks down, 1 rack's left. Aegis is not up. All Morphling can do is farm, and what will he farm for? Farm for an Ethereal Blade, which will not do too much in my honest opinion. Shotgun Morph is not what you should want in this situation. You want, you know, maybe a Scotty Morph to give you a lot of stats and damage, or a Butterfly Morph to give you some evasion against some of the physical damage. Shotgun Morph, nah. Not a huge fan of this build in this situation. Of the build in general, I think it's a very valuable build that works in a lot of situations. Just not this one, as he's going to replicate out to the base, just wasting some of Winrunner's time. And Nando has 50 seconds to go before he can return to the fight, but I think Mineski, they're just like, okay, screw Nando, let's just go in. He's just 15 years old, we can take it without him, but then, you know, they won't be able to. Just watch. Puck gonna phase, blink out, he's gonna be able to escape just fine. So much mobility on Scourge, they're gonna be able to pick off the Chen. Chen, my friend. Not really too sure if that was the best idea you've ever had. As all these hexes, you cannot hold all of these hexes, as they are going to be able to pick off the Chen once more. Fissure is going to be enough, and the Windrunner just doing so much damage. Necro 3 combined with Hex, and Owa doing a nice job in terms of landing Shackle Shots. I have not seen him miss too many Shackle Shots whatsoever. Puck is going to be able to escape once more, as they're just buying time. Nando's going to be able to teleport back into the fight, and with Darkseer constantly harassing Julz, I mean, Julz cannot solo kill Darkseer at this stage in the game. He's just going to have to replicate out, teleport back. Jay's doing a nice job of continuing the pressure on all the lanes. So, yeah, I don't really see too much of a hope for Dreamz leading. So, just to go for this endgame analysis, as we see a Hex going on Julz once more. Shadow Demon's going to come in. Never say never, as Nightstalker is going to cast the Void, disrupt after the Void. These disruptions have not been the best in my honest opinion, but let's see how much damage Windrunner can tank. Mana Burn is doing a lot. Windrunner is very, very low HP. He has Soul Catcher on him all the time. They pick off the Windrunner, but Echo Slam catches 3 heroes, immediately melts the puck. Now Earthshaker's on the retreat, but Julz does not have buyback, and he does die. With Julz's death, I do not see any hope of Dreamz leading, making the comeback. Shadow is going to be the next in the fall. So Mineski going to get some revenge on their former comrade Julz, as they take this best of 3 match, I think, in the Play Cyber Game tournament in the Philippines. So nice coordination by Mineski. Lag was called a little bit by Julz. I don't really know if that was the case, if this is a LAN or an online tournament. But anyway, nicely done by Mineski, nicely done by Nando, making his transition to Mineski seem seamless, as they are going to be able to pick off the Srax, and with that the game. So I'm just going to pause it right here and just talk about a little bit what Dreamz could have done better. What Dreamz could have done better? I don't think they really exploited the fact that they had a Chen very, very competently. When you're facing against a Trine, at least a dueling of line and the winner up top, I think you should be a bit more aggressive in terms of pushing with the Chen. Also, Nightstalker, unfortunately, had a pretty difficult lane against Nando in the middle lane, so he was not able to make his first night very, very effective. Picked up the boots, I think, at the advent of the first night, so he wasn't able to steamroll into oblivion. I mean, Julz pretty much did all he could. He was caught out of position maybe once, but in terms of overall being chain stunned, I don't really think even if he had made something instead of the Ethereal Blade, it would have made a difference, because he made the Ethereal Blade as his 3rd big item, and by that point he was already 1.5 racks down, about to lose his second complete racks. So just maybe push a bit harder with the Chen, really exploit the fact that silence really screws up a lot of Mineski's lineup. I mean, the problem with the Night Stalker in this case is that you want to silence pretty much every hero on the Scourge side, and you can only silence one. And the Shadow Doom disruptions were probably not the best I've ever seen. But Julz going to do a nice job. I expect to see Dreams Leading contend along with MSI, Evo GT, and Mineski for top 3 slots in the Filipino scene, with iZone poking in its head here and there. So I expect Dreams Leading to do a nice job. They probably won't be at the International because they have just formed and the International invites have already been sent out. And considering the International wants a lot of stable teams, and considering Filipinos have not had the greatest success in Dota 2, I do not expect to see them in the International, but we'll see them in the GEST. Gonna see them in a lot more replays. So thank you all for watching, and please subscribe, like, all that jazz, as it really helps me out, really supports me. So thank you all for watching, and have a fantastic day.